So, time to boot up the old F1 game and get on with the next episode. Oh my god. $750 points. 750, but 750 points. We have just got a cash injection, boys. What's going on, guys? Over here, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode, episode number 47 today for the Canadian Grand Prix in Season 3. And after purchasing the drag reduction upgrade last episode, we have now got a cash money injection of 750 points. We are on a total of 1,200. We could buy an upgrade straight away, but we're going to pause. We're going to wait till the end of the episode because we could earn a lot more, obviously doing the practice programs, and we could be on to be over 2,000 yet again at the end of a career mode episode. So going on from the end of last episode number 46. By the way, if you have missed that, be sure to go check that one out. I uploaded it pretty damn late yesterday, so be sure to see that one. Absolute madness at the Monaco Grand Prix, as you could probably tell by the title of that video. But we're changing over that gearbox that we mentioned at the end that I was trying to do at the end of the race, but obviously I had to wait till we actually got to the Canadian Grand Prix weekend. But really good stuff that our gearbox now has no issues at all. From Season 2, where we were missing a couple of gears at Monaco, I think it was, after obviously we did one reliability upgrade. Now it looks like we'd never have to worry about the gearbox anymore, because I don't think I'm going to be wrecking it any more than I have been doing in these first opening 5 rounds, or 6 rounds I should say, sorry. So I think we're all good on that front. So changing it to the second one of the season so far, and looking really good on the reliability for the engine as a whole. I mean, the MGUK and H are a little bit worn than I would like, but the rest of the engine is looking pretty good. And obviously we're allowed 4 of each component over a 20 race season, so that allows us 5 races pretty much to average out each set and each column. So we're on round 7 and we're still using some components from column 1, so I think we're doing a pretty decent job, definitely compared to last season. Obviously we've not even touched reliability, whereas last season I think we pretty much were spending until halfway through the season, the British Grand Prix, sorting out reliability of this Renault. So I think, you know, long term that worked out for us last season, and we're reaping the benefits at the moment. We're just focusing on performance. You know, we just installed that major drag update, and by the end of the episode we could be looking handy to maybe getting 2 more at least minor upgrades. But anyways, as I've been talking about that, we've been going through Q1, and pretty standard procedure for us as a team. Right now we're up in P4, pretty decent. Looks like the track a little bit cold as the lap time's a little bit down, and Nico Hulkenberg does get through though in P10, and no qualms there. And so going into Q2, we're going to be doing once again that old strategy we haven't done for 2 rounds now, because obviously at Monaco it was a 1-stop, and the same thing can be said for the Russian Grand Prix. Those are both 1-stops for different reasons. The Spanish Grand Prix, obviously, even then, you know, we tried this strategy, but it didn't really matter in the end because Spain had so much tyre wear that we ended up using all the tyres at the end of the day. Whereas now here at Canada, we set a lap time on our super softs here, the second softest tyre available to us this weekend, and this will pay out for us because this will hopefully open us up to a 1-stop. Whereas you can see most people, apart from Sebastian Vettel, are qualifying on the ultra soft tyre. So me and Vettel may open up to a 1-stop, but the rest of them, I would like to think they're going to be doing a 2-stop, because the ultra softs can only go around, I think, 8 or 9 laps at best in terms of your optimum. You can maybe drag them to maybe lap 11, but I highly doubt the AI would. I think the AI are going to be a lot more conservative in terms of how long they're going to be taking these tyres. So I think we're in a really good position, and making it through on super soft along with Sebastian is looking good in terms of the pace there, you would say, if we're matching the man in second place in the World Drivers' Championship. So we're in Q3 then, and this is our first flying lap into the share. And obviously I say first because we've got plenty of tyres to actually use now in Q3. We've got 3 new sets of ultra soft, so we come across the line. It's not an amazing lap time there actually compared to our Q2 lap time, and indeed from my lap time in Season 2, if you remember, Season 2 we came in second place here in qualifying at Canada, with the rain coming down at the end of Q3, stopping some people and putting in a fast lap. So we got a little bit lucky in that season. This season we didn't get lucky with any rain, but we do come across the line with a decent lap time, and we have actually improved from our lap time in Season 2. But you can see it's only P5 actually, which I sound disheartened, but obviously P5 is flipping amazing for us in the Renault, with Nico Hülkenberg way down the order in P10. Sergio Perez once again out-qualifying Max Verstappen, so Verstappen really struggling in the last 2 rounds here of F1 2017 career mode. But you could see we're in P5, so we got jumped by 3 people compared to Season 2, and you saw all the lap times were so much lower and a lot more consistent this season round. So definitely looks like Ferrari and Mercedes have, equally the same with us, have made a step up in performance from Season 2 if you compare the lap times, but also just showing that we did definitely get very lucky last time out. Having set a faster lap time than our last season, we're going 3 places back, but as I mentioned earlier, that's really not a bad position to be in, and the same for Vettel as well, who qualified on super softs. They're opening both of us up to 1 stop. So let's go to the full grid then, and then we'll get into this race and see how it shapes up.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Raikkonen, Renault and Perez, Verstappen, Ocon, Massa and Nico Hülkenberg, Grosjean, Ricciardo, Kevin Magnussen and Sainz, Stroll, Kvyat, Fernando Alonso and Pascal Wehrlein. Van Dorn and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So we're met with overcast conditions here for the start of the Canadian Grand Prix. It is going to get sunnier though later on in the race, but you can see confirmation 1 stop is a go with the super soft to the soft tyres there, and I imagine most of the AI that have qualified on the ultra softs will basically be doing that 2 stop you can see below, obviously just with the ultra softs at the beginning and then 2 sets of super softs to the end of the race. So this should be really, really good for us. We're going to fill up on fuel obviously to use Rich Mix. That was really key to our victory last season, if you remember, in Season 2, using Rich Mix off the hairpin, getting good traction. So here's hoping we can, fingers crossed, maybe do something similar today, but obviously no rain to help us out. It's a full dry race, but either way, let's go to 5 red lights for the Canadian Grand Prix in Season 3. Round number 7 is a go as 5 red lights are out and we're underway, and it is a pretty mediocre start for us. A great one for Sergio Perez as he climbs up on the right hand side. We go down the inside of him and Kimi Raikkonen though to cut across the track. There's been no contact made though, and that was a clean pass up into P4, and Sebastian Vettel left in no man's land in P3. The 2 silver arrows in formation there, 1 and 2 as they left the grid and qualified there, and they're looking pretty damn strong and maybe looking to get away early on in this race. Meanwhile, as we move later to the end of lap 1 into the chicane, we're actually catching up to Vettel, and Vettel's falling majorly back from Valtteri Bottas there in second place. You can see the gap on the minimap is huge, and we're gaining so much slipstream on Vettel. We're going to go for the move down the inside of turn 1, and we've made it work. We're up into P3. How do you like that, Sebastian? We caught him completely off guard. I didn't even think I was ready to make that move. We caught so much in the main straight after the chicane. It wasn't even a particularly fast line through the chicane. We just gained all the speed once we got going up into Rich Mix, and as we're going to look at a replay now, and I don't think even Sebastian had any clue we were going to come on the left-hand side, literally out of nowhere like a ninja in yellow. And you can see on the exit, I wasn't exactly his best pal, but I think I had just so much overspeed from that slipstream I got off his car that I really just shot into turn 1. I had to desperately try and slow it down. As we now look at a replay, this is on the same lap as we were overtaking Vettel. Hülkenberg goes to try and overtake 2 cars maybe down the same straight. He tries to dive down the inside of Grosjean. He's already got one of the Force Indias there as they got crossed up going side by side into the chicane. Hülkenberg unable to make it stick around the outside of Grosjean into turn 2, but good to see Hülkenberg looking punchy as well in this race. So both Renaults looking for a fight, and now we move on later into the race. Lap 3 I think this is, as Felipe Massa has gone down the inside of Max Verstappen, and he's slowed down the Dutchman so much so that now Grosjean is on the back of him, and he's overtaken him completely before even the braking begins for turn 1. So Max Verstappen lost 2 places in the span of a straight and 1 corner there. So Verstappen not looking too handy in this Grand Prix so far. Obviously got out-qualified by this man, Sergio Perez, who now goes down the inside of Sebastian Vettel on lap 4 onto lap 5. Doesn't make it work, but tried the pop on one of the Ferrari cars. He's in a Ferrari sandwich, Sergio Perez is, but he out-qualified Verstappen, and Verstappen really not performing so far as he goes back down the inside and tries another pop on Sebastian. Once again, Vettel does well, to be fair to him, to defend against Perez there. So Perez is going to have to be a bit patient, but definitely does look like Perez has the speed over Vettel this afternoon. And both Ferraris bottling this race a little bit, not looking like they have any pace at all compared to the two Mercedes cars who at the moment are fighting for the lead. As Bottas now goes down the inside. I think this is on lap 7 for the lead of the Grand Prix. Down the inside, we'll turn to the outside for turn 2, but it looks like Hamilton has that line covered off for now, and it's Hamilton staying in first place, Bottas second, and you can see in the distance, we're not too far off, and obviously if these guys are fighting so hard, this is going to really play into our hands, because if they're just losing time going side by side in these slow corners, and we move on to the next lap, lap 8, and Bottas is coming back again. This time, though, he has so much more speed. He's into the lead of the Grand Prix before the braking point for the chicane. You can see Hamilton does get slowed down, though, in the braking zone, and so because of that, we're so much closer now. Visually, you can see the gap is closing. We're actually gaining time on this straight and rich mix as we move on to lap 9, and under braking to turn 1, gaining even more on Hamilton, and so much so as we move on to the end of lap 9 towards the hairpin before the back straight. We're going to make a huge dive down the inside of Hamilton, going aggressive this season, taking no prisoners, and Hamilton gives us the room on the exit. He squeezes us towards the grass stone. There's been some contact there, banging tyres left front to his rear right. We open DRS though, he's got no DRS. We're up into rich mix as well, and that combination is going to see us fly past our fellow Brit, and we're up into P2 now of the Canadian Grand Prix. Hamilton uses that as an excuse to come in now, so I suggest probably he was radioing to his team the entire time that he thought it was time to come in, so he's going to try and make an undercut basically on us and Bottas. I say us, we're not making an early pit stop, obviously we're going a lot longer now, but Hamilton will try everything he can at this moment in time to maybe try and get back past me and Bottas potentially. I just don't know how powerful the undercut is at Canada really. Obviously last season we had a bit of an awkward wet race that didn't really see us see what the dry strategy pans out to be, so this is the first time I'll get to see what the Renault is like in the dry conditions. But there's a safety car that has been called out for Lance Stroll. He's retired out of this Grand Prix, second race in a row, and that means myself and Bottas have come straight in then for the pit stop under the safety car. Effectively, this will be a free pit stop, remember, and so we're going to come on to that set of soft tyres, and we're going to the end of this Grand Prix, so we're not even making a racing pit stop, that means, in this race, if we do make it to the end of this Grand Prix. And you can see we've actually gained a bit of time there to Bottas. I would like to think, actually, visually, he's definitely a lot closer on the pit exit there, but safety car has been called out, so that will give us a few laps of lean mixture as well, and we're on lap 11 now, so if the safety car stays out for at least 3 laps, that's pretty much when we were going to come in anyway for the soft tyres, so this could work out beautifully for us to really, cement this strategy, because it's going to help us, obviously, for these 3 laps, not having too much tyre wear. But at the moment, it's Sergio Perez that leads the race, as he's yet to pit. The same with the 2 Ferrari cars, Vettel, Raikkonen, obviously Vettel and Supersoft, remember though, then followed by the Red Bull, Grosjean, then it's Bottas and ourselves, and I believe Hamilton is 2 places back from me, behind Kevin Magnussen there, you can see in the top left, as we go towards the restart of this safety car on lap 12, so it did not stay out for 3 laps, but we make a move down the inside of Valtteri Bottas on the restart of this safety car, side by side. Green flag had gone there, so that was a legal move into the chicane, and we're up the order into P7 then, and so even though the safety car did not stay out for the full 3 laps that I wanted to, we're on lap 13 now as we've gone green. That's fine though, we've already got past that second Mercedes car, so effectively I think we may be into a net first place of the Grand Prix, because I believe all these guys yet to pit ahead of us in this race. And now on the main straight, Bottas in standard mixture, he's unable to overtake us there in a straight line. He actually comes in for another pit stop, so he came in just with us before, so I don't know why on earth he's in. He's not got any damage, and he's not gone to the pits. He's not gone to his pit box. Has he missed his pit box? Valtteri Bottas just going through down the pit lane. This must be for a drive-through penalty then, and that surely has got to be for speeding under the safety car there. So Valtteri Bottas been slapped on the wrist there with a drive-through penalty, and so calamities for the Mercedes team as their lead man has now lost the lead after a penalty there, and a pretty silly one, just speeding on the safety car. He was leading the Grand Prix, there was no need to speed on the safety car. And anyway, meanwhile, we move back to the racing action then, and this was on the restart, on the lap after the restart. Nico Hülkenberg going down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo there to overtake the Red Bull. So Hülkenberg going really well there, and the Red Bulls really not performing at the Canadian Grand Prix, a place where they've gotten pretty lucky in the past in real life Formula 1, and so Hulkenberg up the order. He's on super softs, and so he already pit before the safety car, but he's on a bit of a weird strategy. I'm not too sure how long he'll be able to go on those super softs, but he's doing well so far. As we move on to lap 14 then, and we're in P2 at the moment. Raikkonen leads the way. Hamilton trying to make a pop round the outside. He does try his best. Bit of banging the tyres. We give him all the room we can on the inside there, and he's just unable to get it. We actually squirm with oversteer on the exit, and that actually kind of helps us because that kind of forces our car to get ahead of Hamilton's as we lock up a little bit into the hairpin. So we have to kind of hope for a good exit up into Rich Mix, and on the exit actually as we look behind us, look at that, actually we're getting away from Hamilton, so Hamilton clearly not using Rich Mix. I don't think DRS is enabled quite yet in this Grand Prix, and so pulling away with Rich Mix, the Renault engine once again showing how good it can be if we do give it the right fuel. But meanwhile, Kimi Raikkonen enters the pit lane, so we're up into first place then, that net first position, and Hamilton slots in P2. And as we move on to the next lap, lap 15, Hamilton right up our gearbox now. This time he does have DRS. We're in Rich Mix, trying to defend as best we can. He's on the left, we're on the inside for the chicane. We'll have to try and brake as late as we can. He's outbroken us actually though. As we go down to the initial bar, we tried to do a bit of a straighten up of the car and get a better line. Hamilton really hopped over the curbing, nearly hit the wall of champions, and we're trying desperately to send it down the inside now, as we did get enough speed to make the move. A little bit of contact made though, so that was a very opportunistic dive bomb, I'm not going to lie. And Hamilton on the exit though is pretty fair on the exit, and he just about hangs it to the inside. It was so close between our two cars on the exit of turn 2, but Hamilton does get into the lead of this Grand Prix. But remember, he is on ultra softs. He is going to have to make a second pit stop in this race. He's yet to go onto a set of super softs, so even if he wanted to, he couldn't take it to the end of this Grand Prix and try a gamble. He has to pit in for another set of tyres, and for a different set of tyres I may add, and that time is now. He comes into the pits, we continue on, and we will re-overtake the lead of the Grand Prix. This is a few laps later, of course, not straight away on lap 15, as the sun has now come out now on lap 21 this will be, so 6 laps later, and you saw the gap wasn't too big. We actually did a pretty decent job, if I may say so myself, to keep Hamilton pretty honest on a set of soft tyres compared to his ultra softs there. So although it looked like he really had the speed over us making the pass, after he got ahead, you know, without DRS, he wasn't able to exactly bolt away from us. And meanwhile, it's Nico Hulkenberg then up into second place. It's a 1-2 for Renault at the moment, as he's ahead of the Toro Rosso and Valtteri Bottas, but that's not going to actually stay for too long, as Hulkenberg, the Toro Rosso and Bottas do come in at the same time. So even though Hulkenberg is going to give up P2 in this race, he's going to stay ahead of Valtteri for now, and so really good signs for both us Renault cars. I mean, we're in P1, but Hulkenberg, at least he's going to come in around P4, you would imagine. Perhaps, we'll have to see. But anyway, move later. Hamilton is overtaking Sergio Perez. He was in P2, Perez, but he's coming to the pits now. I was kind of hoping Perez would hold up Hamilton a little bit longer, but that hasn't worked out for us. But we're still in P1, doing the job, and just going around as fast as we can, really. But now Hamilton's in clean air in P2, with Hulkenberg still in P3 right now as we move on to lap 26. So we've got 9 laps to go. Yellow flags there as there's a car parked up into turn 1. I believe it's Carlos Sainz, but we're still in P1 with 9 laps to go, and Hulkenberg is still in P3, although I speak a little bit too soon as we move now onto a move with Valtteri Bottas. He's closing up, Rich Mix probably, DRS wide open, and he's going to make this pass, unfortunately, probably inevitable. Hulkenberg obviously not going to put up too much of a fight compared to what I could probably put up to Hamilton, and Bottas down the inside then up into P3 and kind of ruins that double Renault podium for us, unfortunately. As we now transition into the final 5 laps of this Grand Prix, closing up to Fernando Alonso, blue flag car, obviously we're lapping him, and I was hoping he could just get out of the way very easily, but it's a little bit of an awkward pass into turn 2. Fernando's definitely held us up a little bit, and here's hoping though that Fernando could do this same favour for me and hold up Hamilton in the same kind of fashion, really. I'm hoping like he did in season 1 at Austria. That would be absolutely fantastic for us, but I don't think that may be the case. But going back to Hulkenberg, he's still in P4 there. I don't think there's any, the next car along is the Toro Rosso in P5, so I think Hulkenberg either way will be coming home in a really strong 4th place. The question mark now is who's coming up in 1st place and 2nd place, because Hamilton is still on a charge on super soft tyres. He closes up to Fernando Alonso, and unfortunately, like I mentioned, it's not going to be the hold-up that I thought it was going to be. Into the end of Sector 1, Hamilton's already swung by, and he's probably gaining about 2 seconds a lap on us now as we move on to the end of lap 32 into the hairpin, closing up to another lap car of a Sauber there, so hopefully he gets out of the way. But as we exit the hairpin, we've got yellow flags. That's Lewis Hamilton out of the Canadian Grand Prix, and that surely seals first place for us today as Valtteri Bottas is miles down the road. He goes up into P2, and you know what? It'll be Nico Hülkenberg to go up into P3 then. So Nico getting some luck there as well, and both of us benefit. So the double Renault podium is back on again as Hamilton parks it up there. Retirement, mechanical failure with the car, and that's going to make things very interesting in the Drivers' Championship with Valtteri Bottas scoring second, and Vettel, I still think, some points there with Hamilton scoring nothing, but it doesn't matter. The only thing we care about is weaving across the line to come across for P1 at the Canadian Grand Prix. Once again, we are winners in Montreal, and Hülkenberg gets third place, meaning it's a double Renault podium. Absolute scenes here at Montreal. The bosses are happy, the team are happy. There we go, fist pumps all around there. Absolutely awesome. Canada has quickly become, once again, my all-time favourite track on the F1 game. It was dwindling. My love for the track was dwindling in the last two F1 games, but I think it's fully back here for F1 2017. What luck we've got today. I think, you know, we still had 3 laps left of the Grand Prix, and we were still a fair bit ahead of Hamilton, so I still think I could have put up the fight for P1, but more so, this is brilliant luck for Nico Hülkenberg to join me on the podium, to make it a double Renault podium. That's the more amazing thing here, to see both of us on the podium, clinking the glasses of champagne. Look at that, that's great to see. Myself in the middle, Nico on the right. What a wonderful Grand Prix that has been. First place, and Nico, actually, apart from, you know, the luck aside, he would have come P4. He started P10, so that was actually a really amazing, solid Grand Prix for Nico Hülkenberg there as well. Both of us gaining just about 4 or 5 positions there from our starting slot. And you can see in the Constructors then, we're actually still not too far off Ferrari. You know, Ferrari have a few bogey races like this. I don't want to tempt fate, but you never know, you never know. I can't believe I'm quite saying that after the Spanish Grand Prix only 2 episodes ago, where I was feeling a bit down about where the car was. But, you know, things are starting to click a little bit, and, you know, we've got some momentum here now. I'm feeling good about this, and we end out the weekend, obviously, adding to that points total for the R&D from the bonus as well. We're going to have a very decent amount of points. Not quite 2,000, but a decent amount to maybe do 2 minor upgrades on perhaps the chassis side of things. So, looking very, very good. Beat Massa thoroughly, obviously, in the rivalry there. So all round really decent. Oh no.
Everything okay? Do remember to let us know which areas of the car you'd like us to develop. Using the laptop. I'll leave that with you.
Well, thanks for that, Chris. Thanks for that brand new spanking bit of information there that we can spend points on our R&D on the laptop. Did not know that at all. Really top job there by our top engineer. Clearly. Anyway, moving on from him. We're not going to let him spoil the day. We're going to go ahead and buy the first one of our upgrades, our first of 2, the weight reduction there for the chassis, and also then, after some debating in my head, the tyre wear upgrade. 2 minors there, 2 times 900, because we do have that 1 efficiency upgrade, so they cost 10% less, so we're able to purchase 2 there. So for the British Grand Prix, they're all going to come at the same time. For the British Grand Prix, we have the major drag reduction, the minor weight reduction, and the tyre wear reduction, the minor one as well. So 3 upgrades coming for the British Grand Prix, our home Grand Prix. And that's the same Grand Prix at the end of it that we may be getting a mid-season contract offer. So that episode is going to be pretty damn tasty. But you can see just briefly before there with the trophy room, it's been pretty damn decent for the last 2 races. Things have picked up from the Spanish Grand Prix where things went a little bit flat. And all in all, this season actually, if we look at the entire thing as a whole, has been going pretty damn well. And, you know, there's been ups and downs. And this certainly has been a roller coaster ride so far with Renault. This is definitely enough. Double podium. What more could you ask for, guys? Smash that like button. Actually awesome, guys. If we could try and aim for something crazy like 3,000 likes for a double Renault podium, that's just awesome stuff. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And until then, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.